Hi everyone. I'm going to talk quickly about the pros and cons of cheap French holidaying. So I'm going to talk about wild camping first because we did that just the other day, really recently. And the pros are it's super, super cheap because you're not having to pay for a campsite. Um, The cons are that, well, we did it in the style of a two-man tent, which me and my daughter slept in, and then my husband was in the car on my daughter's short mattress, which just about fits in the back. So we were kind of separated, and sometimes we were at the side of a road because that's all we could find at that time, because maybe we kind of left it a bit late to find a good sleeping spot. But the thing I did like about it also is that we slept on the beach, and that was really cool. I hadn't done that for many, many years, and waking up to the sunrise is pretty cool. Um, so, yeah, the cost thing is brilliant, and there are definitely some downsides. But we managed to do it with really, really minimal packing, and that worked pretty well. So, campervanning is slightly less cheap in the fact that you have to buy the camper van in the first place, but once you have it, the holidays can be really cheap, in that you don't have to pay for campsites, you can just stop wherever. The downside is that if you've got a high top like we did, we couldn't get into all the car parks, especially near the beach. They've got lots of these restriction barriers that stopped us from going under and in, so we had less choice of where to sleep the night. But most of the time that didn't really matter because we'd go up these tiny little dead end tracks, up mountains or whatever, and it was fine. It was just nice and quiet and peaceful. We could just kind of enjoy the inside of our big camper van. So we kind of might go back to that because we really do miss it, and we really enjoyed that way of holidaying. Can you tell I'm rushing? I'm running out of battery. Oh, moving on. So Airbnb can be reasonably priced if you choose some kind of unusual or small alternative properties. We've never actually hired a room within a house, which is cheaper than getting the whole apartment. But that can work really well, especially if you want to kind of stay put and settle somewhere and feel more relaxed and just kind of really get into where you are. Whereas the other two options I've just spoken about, you're kind of always moving pretty much, and that doesn't always feel as relaxing. And then obviously you can go to a campsite where there's a ready-made tent, which is a bit more expensive than bringing your own tent. But again, you're settled in a spot, you've got everything you need, so you don't have to pack as much. We've never actually gone for that option, but I think it could be good if you have a bit more money. Obviously, you still got to pack your clothes and stuff, but it's kind of less stressful before you go, I suppose. If you've got a small car, that's a good option. We used to do a lot of Aire de Camping Car in our camper van, and Airs you can actually look up on the internet. They've got their own sites, so you can see in advance where they are, and you can kind of plan your route with that. And you can also get books that you can take with you and tells you where they are. But I find that the downer for that is that they often don't have a toilet because everyone in their camper van already has one, and there's also no shower. So yeah. And when we're doing our wild camping, our washing was going in rivers, lakes, the sea, filling up big 5-litre bottles, and I washed Robin's hair like that one day. So you can still be clean even if you're wild camping. And then, of course, in the mountains, in the Pyrenees or the Alps, there's a refuge. So those free stone buildings or kind of wooden shacks, depending on which one you find, are free. And if it's the winter, then you can build a fire. If it's the summer, then if it's stone, then it's going to be nice and cool. Obviously, really hard because you don't necessarily have a mattress with you, and you're just kind of lying on the floor or lying on a wooden bed, or it's very rudimentary and simple. But you know, if you've got your backpack with you and you fancy a really cheap holiday, that's can be a really great way of seeing some quiet, what feels like untreaded paths through the mountains, and that's something I would love to do one day. In fact, I really wanted to do it for a long weekend last summer, and it never happened. Instead, I went and I got an Airbnb in the Aragon area of northern Spain, and that was amazing little property with a wood-burning stove, and I really loved that. It was about €12 a night, so pretty good deal. And then obviously you can go to cheap hotels, which I have done in Paris and various other places around France. But usually they're pretty horrible and grungy and smelly and not very nice facilities and uncomfortable beds. And so if you're going for a cheap hotel, I'd probably Airbnb, get a better deal. But I find that in France, if you want a nice hotel, you generally have to pay a bit more if you don't want it to smell. I've put off, oh yeah, off season. So if you're going to go off season on holiday, then that's obviously going to be much cheaper than if you go peak season. And I quite like going on holiday at that time because obviously you have less tourists. The places like Collioure, for example, went off peak there, and the car parks were easy to get into, and you know, it just wasn't mayhem, and it wasn't really stiflingly hot. We went a couple of days to the beach to Argelès-sur-Mer in peak season last week, and it was like 37 degrees, and you know, there's no shade on the beach, and for me that's less exciting. I can do the beach for a while, but you know, you have to cool off a lot in the sea, which is all fine and lovely, but after a while I'm just like, give me the mountains anytime. So we wended our way back east, away from the Med, and west, sorry, and that was much nicer for me. We found some amazing watering holes in rivers and kind of spa places that had these beautiful natural waters coming up with kind of saltiness and minerals, and the water was so clear and it just felt divine. And for me, that's much more rich than being at a touristy spot by the sea. Although I did like that, there were some really great moments to that too, especially early morning sunrise and having dinner on the beach when there were less people and it was kind of cooler and calmer and just kind of, you know, a bit zen at the end of the day. I prefer that than kind of midday heat anytime. So I think that's pretty much my roundup of pros and cons of cheap French holidays. I'm sure there are lots of others out there, but these are the ones that I've experienced personally with my family of 3, me, Robin and Heidi. And yeah, I'm going to do another video on holidays, and it's going to be about the French camping rule, about seas, lakes and rivers and the variety there are around France and Spain, of what I've experienced. I'm going to show you the Cool Camping book that I have, and the Wild Swimming French book that I have, which has also really helped us in having more interesting, maybe more alternative holidaying experiences than probably we would have had if we didn't have those books with us. So yeah, you'll hear about that soon. See you soon, guys, and please subscribe and comment and press the like button if you want to hear more about this kind of thing. Okay, bye.